Welcome to another English podcast provided by LingExam Language Academy. Hello there. You've joined us for Expressing Opinions on Social Issues in English, a complete B2 level guide, which is brought to you by lingexam.com. Today, we're really getting into how you can articulate your thoughts on crucial topics with confidence. Whether you're just chatting with friends or maybe engaging with colleagues or even jumping into an online forum discussion. Because these days, conversations about social issues, things like, say, the environment, education, healthcare, technology, well, they aren't just for politicians anymore, are they?
No, absolutely not. They're everywhere.
Exactly. They're a huge part of everyday communication and, honestly, a vital skill to get right in English. So our goal today is to properly explore how you can do this, equip you with everything you need to take part in these, well, quite meaningful conversations, confidently and naturally. Think of it as a shortcut, maybe, to being not just well-informed, but really articulate.
And that's exactly what we're aiming for.
Yeah.
At the B2 level, the CEFR, the expectation isn't just that you understand. It's about expressing clear opinions, being able to support your arguments with solid reasons, and also reacting properly to others' ideas.
Right. Engaging properly.
Exactly. And discussing social issues like this, it's actually one of the best ways to, well, build your fluency, expand your vocabulary and context, and really sharpen your critical thinking skills in English.
That makes sense.
So, yeah, we've looked at the core stuff from your materials, essential vocabulary, the right grammar, useful phrasal verbs, expressions, sentence structures.
The work.
Pretty much. And we're going to sort of unpack all of that for you right now.
Brilliant. Okay, so building that foundation. Where do we start? Why does expressing your opinion actually matter so much? I mean, beyond just, passing an exam, what's the real value for our listeners?
That's a really good question. It's fundamental, isn't it? It's about genuine communication, being able to articulate how you see the world. When you give an opinion, you're not just listing facts. You're engaging with what's around you, showing your perspective.
Yeah.
Inviting others to understand it or, maybe challenge it. And to do that well, especially with all these different social issues, you absolutely need accurate, topic-appropriate vocabulary. It's crucial.
Your toolkit, as you said.
Your essential toolkit, exactly.
Okay, so let's pick out a couple from the list you've highlighted in the notes. What about inequality? We hear it all the time, but how should a B2 learner use it effectively when giving an opinion?
Good one. Inequality. It's not just things being unequal in a general sense. It specifically points to unfairness, where people don't get the same opportunities or treatment.
Okay.
So, for example, you might say something like, social inequality is a really serious issue in many countries, often leading to, say, limited access to education for some groups. See, it implies a need for fairness.
Right, it's got weight.
It does. Then there's sustainable. This implies thinking long-term, being responsible with resources. So we don't harm the environment or use everything up for future generations.
Like with energy.
Exactly. You'd say we really need to find more sustainable energy solutions to protect the planet. And digital divide. Again, it's more than just having internet or not. It's about the gap, isn't it?
The gap in access.
Yes, the gap between people who can access technology and information easily and those who can't, and the social impact of that. We saw it very clearly with online learning during the pandemic, didn't we? How many people were just left behind.
Definitely.
So these words, they're not just definitions. They carry social meaning that gives your opinion real power.
That does clarify things. But, okay, having the right words is one thing. But sounding natural, sounding persuasive, that's another step, surely. What comes next?
You're absolutely right. Knowing the words is the start. The next step is how you actually phrase your opinions. To sound natural and fluent, you need to use common sentence starters and expressions. They don't just make your opinion clear.
No.
They also help keep the discussion respectful, which is, well, vital when you're talking about potentially sensitive topics. We can actually sort of group these phrases based on the tone you want.
Okay, that sounds useful. So what kind of phrases are we talking about? Give some examples.
All right, well, for just a standard neutral opinion, you've got the basics like, in my opinion, or simply, I think that. Very common, very clear.
Standard stuff.
Exactly. But if you feel strongly, you want to add emphasis, right? Then you might use something like, I strongly feel that. Or even, there's no doubt in my mind that. That shows real conviction.
Okay, much stronger.
Then there's polite disagreement. Really important for any good discussion. You could try, I see your point, but, or maybe, that's true to some extent, however.
Acknowledging first.
Precisely. You show you've listened before offering your view. Now, if you want to be a bit more tentative, perhaps less direct, maybe you're not 100% sure, or it's just a suggestion.
Right.
You could use, it seems to me that, or perhaps, as far as I'm concerned, a bit softer.
Okay.
And finally, to really stress it's your personal belief, maybe be quite candid, you've got phrases like, frankly, I think, or to be honest.
Showing your cards a bit more.
Exactly. Each group adds a different flavor, a different nuance. It lets you choose the right tool for the job, basically, whether it's a casual chat or a more formal debate.
That's really helpful. I often hear learners just repeating, I think, and this gives so many alternatives to add texture. But what about, the more colorful language, phrasal verbs, idioms?
Yeah.
They really make English sound fluent, but they can be tricky, can't they?
They can seem tricky, yes, but they're so worth getting to grips with. Fluent English speakers use them all the time. They add, well, color and nuance, as you say. Looking at your notes, there's some great examples there. Let's take phrasal verbs first. Consider speak out.
Okay.
This isn't just saying something. It means expressing an opinion publicly, often with a sense of courage, perhaps against something you think is wrong, like an injustice.
Right, like protesting.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
So more people should speak out against racism. It has that feeling of public advocacy. Another good one is come up with, meaning to think of an idea or a plan.
Like brainstorming.
Yes.
Yeah.
We need to come up with some innovative solutions for climate change.
Yeah.
Or back up. That means supporting your point with evidence.
Crucial for arguments.
Absolutely.
Yes.
When you back up that claim with some data, you need evidence.
These definitely add more specific meaning than just simple verbs, okay, and idioms. They always feel like the final boss for language learners.
Yes, they can feel that way. But they make your speech sound incredibly natural once you're comfortable. Take a hot topic.
Right.
Obviously not literally hot. It just means a subject people are discussing a lot right now, often with quite strong feelings. Renewable energy is definitely a hot topic in politics these days.
Okay, got it.
Or a double-edged sword. This one's brilliant for showing complexity. It means something has both good and bad points, advantages and disadvantages.
Like?
Well, social media is a bit of a double-edged sword, isn't it? It connects people, but it can also spread misinformation.
Good example.
And a wake-up call. Not your morning alarm. It's an event or a warning that makes people realize they need to act urgently.
Like a shock.
Exactly. The recent floods were a wake-up call about the need for better infrastructure. Using these sorts of phrases really does elevate your English, makes it sound much more, well, natural and nuanced.
So we've got the vocabulary, the phrasing, now structure, grammar. It feels like the scaffolding, doesn't it? Holding the whole argument together clearly and persuasively.
That's a perfect way to put it. Scaffolding. Yes, grammar is essential. Let's look at some key B2 level patterns that really help structure opinions. First off, modal verbs. Things like should, must, might, could, ought to. They are invaluable.
How so?
Well, they let you express opinions, suggestions, different levels of certainty. Saying governments must take action is very strong. It shows obligation.
Right.
Whereas people might not understand the consequences, expresses possibility, maybe uncertainty. The modal you choose really changes the tone.
Okay. And what about those basic starters we mentioned? I think, I believe. How do they fit in grammatically?
They're foundational, really. I think, I believe, in my opinion. They're your starting blocks for personal views. But the key is how you build on them. So instead of just say, I think pollution is bad, you can upgrade it. Yeah, make it stronger, more specific. I strongly believe pollution is a serious threat to public health. You add emphasis, you add detail, you leverage that basic structure. Then, conditionals. Really useful for hypothetical opinions, thinking about consequences. The second conditional, for unreal situations. If I were in charge, I would invest more in public transport.
Exploring possibilities.
Exactly, without stating it's a definite fact. And also, causative and passive structures are common in these discussions, especially when the focus is on the action or the result, not necessarily who did it. Maybe it's unknown or just less important.
Like in reports.
Yes. A new recycling scheme was introduced last year. Or air pollution is caused by various factors. It sounds a bit more formal, more objective, which often fits these kinds of social issue topics.
That gives you a lot of ways to state your own view, but discussions aren't monologues, are they? What about responding to others? Agreeing, disagreeing, politely.
Yes, interaction. Crucial. Knowing how to agree and disagree politely is key. For agreement, simple phrases work well. That's a good point, or I couldn't agree more. Shows you're listening, you're engaged.
Right. And disagreeing.
Well, that's where politeness is paramount, isn't it? To keep the dialogue constructive. You could say, I see what you mean, but I'm not sure I agree entirely. Or maybe, that's an interesting perspective, however, have you considered?
Softening the blow a bit.
Exactly. You state your disagreement without just shutting the other person down. And finally, don't forget justifications. Supporting your points. Use connectors like, for instance, because. As a result, that's why. For example, investing in education is vital. For instance, it leads to better job prospects. It adds weight, makes your argument much stronger.
It feels like a lot of different elements to juggle, though. Vocabulary, phrases, grammar. How does looking at the sources help listeners see it all working together?
That is the key, isn't it? Seeing it in action. We've highlighted how you can structure opinions logically,
Yeah.
make gender equality. You can build it like this. In my opinion, women and men should have the same opportunities at work. That's your opinion.
Okay.
Because ability isn't based on gender. That's your reason.
Right.
For example, many successful leaders today are women. There's your example.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I believe we need more inclusive hiring. And a concluding thought or connection. See? State, support, example, conclude. It's a really effective pattern. Your materials also mention a sample paragraph on environmental protection, showing how modals, justifications, connectors all blend together.
And seeing actual conversations makes it even clearer, I suppose.
Absolutely. The proof is in the pudding, as they say. That's why we've drawn from model dialogues. There's that friendly debate example between Amira and James about recycling. You hear them use phrases like, I agree, that's true, but I see your point, but perhaps. Really naturally.
Little back and forth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there are other real-life model dialogues, too, one on environmental policy, another on social inequality. They show B2 level conversation in action using all these tools. It helps you get a feel for the rhythm, not just the words.
So we've explored all these different tools, the words, the phrases, the grammar, the structure. What are the absolute key takeaways, the top tips for listeners to really succeed when expressing opinions?
Right, let's boil it down. These are really practical tips. First, and probably most important, learn to structure your opinion. Remember that pattern. State, support, example, conclude, connect. It just makes your point clear and logical.
Okay, structure first.
Second, use hesitation devices naturally. Things like, well, let me think. They're not signs of weakness. They actually make you sound more fluent, more human. Gives you a second to think, just like native speakers do.
Good point. Don't be afraid of them.
Exactly. Third, respond respectfully. This is huge for social issues. Whether you agree, that's a great point, or disagree politely. I see where you're coming from, but respect keeps the conversation going. And finally, perhaps the most effective tip. Practice role plays regularly. Seriously, grab a friend, pick a topic from the news, climate change, technology, whatever, and just discuss it. Debate it.
Get stuck in.
Get stuck in. Active practice is the absolute best way to make all this stick and build real confidence. And your notes also mention practice exercises, multiple choice, writing tasks. They're great for checking your understanding too.
Fantastic. Well, you've just had a really comprehensive look at how to express opinions about social issues in English. Mastering this, it won't just make you a more confident speaker for exams, perhaps, but much more importantly, it really empowers you in those real-world conversations. Talking about things that genuinely matter to you.
Absolutely. And remember, this session is just part of your journey. The real key is consistent practice, building on these foundations day by day.
So, ready for your next challenge? We really encourage you to explore more great content over on the LingExam Language Academy website. For example, there's a complete tutorial on how to ask for and give directions naturally in English, really useful and perfect for learners at your level. Visit lingexam.com today. Keep building that real-world English fluency step by step. LingExam Language Academy, your journey to confident English starts here. This podcast was provided by lingexam.com.